Why should I start a business either in my 20s or even in my teen years, if possible, or maybe lately my 30s? Well, just for simple reasons. Reason number one, when you are on your 20s or on your teen years, you have lesser responsibilities than you do when you are older. Well, it differs from person to person. Excuse me. Remember, in life we don't walk the same walk, so we are very different as people. We have different responsibilities. Others by their teen years they are already leading child-headed families. Others at their teen years they are still playing and getting very dirty. Others on their teen years they are very matured people that are already working for an actual salary. Depending on where you're watching me from, the in the world, wherever you are watching me from, but it is important with business to start the earliest as possible. Why? Because you have more time on your hands. Probably when you are still a teen, you have just school to think about, and then that's it, and come back home with a couple of house errands, and then you have the time to invest in your business. You have the time and you have the trial error where you can make a lot of mistakes and fail, make a lot of mistakes and fail. And when you make those mistakes and fail, you still have roof over your head that you can still sleep at. You have people that will still be providing you with food even though you fail. While when you wait and start business at a later stage in life, let's say maybe on your 40s or on your 50s, already you have a wife, already you have kids, they all are expecting food from you. They all are expecting providence from you. They expect you to play certain responsibilities in their lives. The pressure is too much, and business is just a totally different child on its own to actually raise. So it may get a bit harder than to do business than it is on your earlier years. And another reason is when you are younger, chances of you being tech savvy are high, other than someone who is probably on their late 50s. They may not know what is the latest thing on the block, what are the new AI toys to play with, what are the new things to play with. So it gets a bit harder at a later stage, and the flexibility is not there and the energy is not there, whereby you don't mind running and doing 1 2 3 day, doing 1 2 3 day, or even working in your business for 6 months to a year without seeing a single dime from it, and still show up at it and still work and still push. So starting early, it buys you enough time for your trial error. I'm not saying that in your trial error is where you have to play and make dumb mistakes, but it buys you enough time for your trial error so that you have a lot that you can actually try on and fail, and even changing the sector altogether. I'll give you an example. I'm one of the people who started in business at a very young age. I was running a newspaper, so to observe immediately when newspapers ran out of fashion because companies would rather just invest more in digital marketing that speaks to them other than giving me money for my ad space for a newspaper. When the newspaper business collapsed, because I didn't have people that could fund me to push certain narratives. Regardless, I wouldn't have agreed because I preferred being independent. So, but when the entire newspaper business, all the other way around, collapsed and then everyone took it online, I didn't move with it online, but I rather chose to do something different. I chose to run a digital agency, which makes sense for me and which is much more easier for me to run the same Facebook page for the very same clients that I used to have in the newspapers, and do a whole lot of other things for them. While let's say I was already an old man in my 50s and the newspaper is all I knew and the newspaper is all I was invested in, when that knock for the newspaper business to go down almost everywhere, because in our country we have very few newspapers now that are existing, yet we used to have a whole lot. So when the newspaper business collapsed, I would have probably tried to hold on it, probably tried to create more debt to get myself into business for long, but the era of that business was just done. And me being young allowed me to just change with it very quickly into something else, and I'm okay with it. So starting very early, it buys you that time, it buys you that luxury of having that trial error where you make mistakes and your mistakes are not as painful as much. Imagine you run a business and something goes wrong. You can't pay your rent, or you can't pay your bond house, you can't pay for the car, you can't pay for your children's school fees, and they come and repossess those things when those luxuries used to be part of your life, and your kids, your wife has to see all those luxuries walk out the door. Like now, that is very different. That is absolutely different than when it's just Monday alone, trying, he fails, and he can't pay anything. They repossess whatever that they repossess, and then tomorrow morning I am back at work, I am trying again, probably trying something different, or trying to work out what I actually got wrong the first time, and push it to a point where I can comfortably say now it is making me enough money for me to take care of others as well. So starting early is the thing. And if you are saying business was not created for all of us, blah, 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 I would just like to remind you and just say to you, remember that your children will not be inheriting your job, your children will not be inheriting your degree. And when your children grow up, when their time comes for them to find jobs, chances are very high that AI will be everywhere and they may not even be able to lend themselves a proper job. Because you can study the medicine all you like. If all of a sudden there's a machine that I'm going to type and tell my problems, and then it would print a prescription for me, it would do everything for me, or the machine would print the prescription for me and actually get me pills for me to just take without having to speak to a human, and your kid has studied medicine, well, it's a totally different ball game. So we all need family businesses there and there. It might not be you per se starting the business, or you may find someone in your business, in your family, who has the talent of business or who has the time and what it takes for business to succeed. But every family needs business. So the sooner you start, the better. The more mistakes you make, the better you learn, and the more you get better at it. My name is Monde Sogo. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.